Hey, what's going on, everyone? Back at it again with another video, and this time it is a review of the new Superman movie. So, yeah, I just got done seeing it, and I'm ready to talk about it. So, first off, there's not really going to be any spoilers to the movie, because to be honest, there's not that much to spoil about it, besides maybe one thing, and I'm not even going to get into spoilers. I'm just going to talk about what I thought about the movie. And I thought this movie was great. Um, I have to recommend this one, because I already knew it was going to be good before going into it, because I've heard a lot of good things about it before. But to actually see it, yeah, this movie lives up to the hype. This was great. So, where do I even begin? Well, first off, David Cornsweet as Superman, he was great. Probably the best Superman since Christopher Reeve. I mean, he just did a great job as Clark Kent and Superman. Um, and yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. So the stuff I like about the movie is I like the stuff between Lois and Clark in this one. How they're doing the interview, and it's just it gets very funny during it. Um, and the stuff at the Daily Planet was great. I love that they added the character of Steve. The guy who's always messing with Clark. They added him. Um, so yeah, the stuff at the Daily Planet was good. And then the stuff when Superman goes out to the Fortress of Solitude, and then, you see all the robot assistants that he has, and you have Crypto, the super dog, in there. He's just really funny. Like, it's just great that we have Crypto the super dog finally appear in a Superman movie, and it's just great. He's really cute. Um, it's just great that they added him. So yeah, I love the stuff at the Fortress of Solitude, and then we get into all the Superman action where he fights this thing called Ultraman, which was really awesome. And then he fights like this, kind of like this kaiju monster thing, and the Justice Gang help him out. Um, which we'll get into more of that later. Um, but anyway, then you have Lex Luthor, the guy who plays him. I forgot his name, but he has to be the best Lex Luthor. You know, and I he's better than Jesse Eisenberg. You know, I like Gene Hackman, but he's better than Gene Hackman. He just did a great job, and probably Lex Luthor's best plan in any Superman movie. Um, yeah, he just did great. So yeah, it's just great. I guess I'll get into the Justice Gang. So okay, so you have Hawk Girl, you have Mr. Terrific, and you have Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. And then eventually you have Metamorpho. And, I love how they introduce these characters. Metamorpho is at first compliant with Lex Luthor. And, I thought it was kind of cool how he metaphyses his hand into kryptonite, and you see Superman, like, you actually see the effects of, the kryptonite come on to Superman, and you just like basically see his like skin decay. And I love how detailed that was. And yeah, it was just wild. But then eventually, he sees what he's doing is wrong, and then he sides with Superman. And yeah, but then you have the Justice Gang. You have Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, who the guy who plays him, he deserves an Oscar, not only for the look, but like he got the character down, like the attitude, and he was just great. And I love how when Metamorpho is like, Hawkgirl says, "Oh, you should join us," and like Guy Gardner says, something about him being ugly or something. And then like they were talking about like the Justice Gang, name, because that's the name that Guy Gardner wants to, give the group. And Hawkgirl thinks it's stupid, but then like when Metamorpho says, "Oh, that's a cool name," Guy Gardner's like, "Okay, you're in." So yeah, I thought that was funny. And also Mr. Terrific, who is probably my favorite character in this movie besides Superman, because it's really funny. Like he wants to help and stuff, and then like Lois is telling him about her relationship with Superman, and he just stops her and says, "Look, I'm not into this feeling stuff," or he says something along those lines, but that cracked me up as well. So yeah, he was a really fun character. So yeah, I love the Justice Gang and what they contribute to the movie. And yeah, this is great. So overall, I think this is a great movie, a great start to James Gunn's DC universe. Um, And yeah, again, I think David Cornsweet was a good Superman. I think the guy who played Lex Luthor was the best guy to play Lex Luthor. Um, and yeah, and I love Crypto. I love the Justice Gang. Um, I love the stuff between Lois and Clark. I love. One thing I forgot to mention is Ma and Paul Kent, which in this universe, Paul Kent is still alive. He's not worm food. He's in the movie. Um, I think that was cool. And yeah, and I love the stuff on Krypton. Or not Krypton, the Fortress of Solitude. And I love how they have like the Superman has his robots, which is cool. So yeah, it's kind of hard to review this movie without getting into spoilers, but even though there's not much to spoil, there's still some certain things about it that I guess, you know what? Fuck it. If you haven't seen this movie, go see it. But I'm gonna get into a couple spoilers. Okay, so I guess this isn't really a spoiler, but like when Lex Luthor breaks into the fortress, they fuck up all those robots, all of Superman's robots. Um, so yeah, that I guess can be a spoiler, um, or maybe not really. I don't know. But Lex Luthor's plan is really like probably his best plan on film of how he's trying to turn everyone against Superman. And it actually works. So kudos for that. Um, and what else? Well, then we get into the end. Superman's at the fortress, and then out of nowhere, Supergirl shows up. And, I really didn't expect that, but that was pretty cool. So, yeah. So I guess, I know they're doing a Supergirl movie, so, maybe they'll explore more of that character there. But yeah, that was wild. Um, and also Jimmy Olsen, who apparently used to date the girl that is with Lex Luthor. So like he's trying to get information from her, and like and she wants to get back together with him, and he really doesn't want to get back with her, but he wants the information, so he agrees. Um but yeah, and that's pretty much it. There's not really much more to spoil about it. It's just, again, you have to see it for yourself. It was a great movie. Is it the best Superman movie? Well, you'll have to find out when I rank the Superman movies once again. So, yeah, but yeah, this movie was great. Definitely a must see.